Welcome back to Talking College Baseball. I am your host, Chris Barber. I am joined with my co-host, Joe Sparber. Today, our guest, Virginia boy, plays at Virginia Tech, Christian Martin, also known as Chick. Everyone calls him Chick. You're going to hear us call him Chick this whole podcast, and that's just his name. So, Chick, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me on, boys. Good to meet you, Joe. Good to see you again, Chris. Miss you. Let's do it. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Chick, before we get started, tell everyone where the nickname came from, because Chick's a unique nickname.
The nickname was, honestly, it was pretty random from my parents when I was born. I started off as, they called me Chicken Little for a little bit. Then it went to Chicky, and then grew up. I guess I graduated to Chick. But yeah, it was just kind of since I was born thing. My grandpa still calls me Chicky. He hadn't really gotten that yet, but yeah, there's no real meaning behind it. They just started calling me it when I was born.
Yeah, I mean that's a really unique nickname. You don't really hear people have a nickname named Chick. So, but no, it's really cool. So yeah, like in all of our podcasts, we start from where you found the love of baseball, what made you want to pursue it. So tell us a little bit about that.
The love for baseball, I'd say it's pretty similar to a lot of guys that y'all have had on here. Just, picking up a baseball bat from before we can all even remember. Like at 3, 4 years old, playing out back in the backyard with my first real memory is playing wiffle ball in the backyard with my grandmother. She was tossing me balls, and she said that I was hitting the wiffle balls over the roof when I was little, and that's when she said she knew I was going to be something special with baseball. But yeah, I couldn't really tell you what got me into it. Just guess it was God's plan that made me pick up that bat when I was little and just fall in love with the game from there.
Yeah. So we said you're a Virginia boy.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about UVA here.
No,
we're not talking about the University of Virginia. We're talking about the Virginia Tech Hokies. You mentioned to me that you're a lifelong Hokie fan.
I am.
So how was that, process? How was your recruitment process to go there?
Not that complicated at all. I'd say 7th, maybe even 6th grade, I started sending emails to Coach Elbin, which is the hitting guy at Tech, just because. And I really I wasn't emailing them because, like, man, I just want to go to this baseball place so bad. It was kind of just, I felt like I needed to because my dad went to school there, my brother went to school there, and it kind of just felt like what was right. Some of the first pictures that I have of myself are in Virginia Tech gear, watching the football games or at the football tailgates with my family's cousins at the game. So yeah, I've loved the place before I even knew it. I even knew what the place was. It's a great place.
We've heard that from a few of our past couple of guests that their school of choice was the one that they wanted to, and they ended up getting it. What did you put? What work wise did you put in to get to that? Like, were you someone who worked hard at night? Were you someone who just played a lot of games, practiced a lot? Like, what did you do in high school and stuff to get to where you are today?
So I come from really a small town that not a lot of baseball guys come out of. So I didn't really have a lot of guys to necessarily work with when I was in high school, middle school. It was really just me and my pops. Sparber, you've met my dad. You know the kind of guy he is. We're both grinders. So it was usually just waking up early mornings, dead of winter, going to the outdoor cages at the high school, getting our work in, And yeah, that's really what it was. It just ultra grinder. I like to grind hard a lot.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to your dad. I love your dad. Hopefully one day we could get him on here because we could have a full podcast with him.
Yeah,
And
you
the
could. You
whole
could talk about anything with
process.
that guy.
Anything. But no, young listeners out there, listen to what Chick just mentioned. One,
Oh,
he was
yeah.
sending emails when he was in 6th grade. Okay, so it's never
Yes.
too early to start. And also, Virginia gets real cold in the winter.
It does.
Okay? For people that don't know, obviously you live there. I live there this year. Man, that thing, it gets cold. It gets cold early too, like October.
Yeah.
We're talking like 20 degrees, wind, everything. To go out there early before school, I mean, it's a different type of dedication to put into baseball, and that's what you had to do to
Yeah.
get where you wanted to go, right?
It's what you got to do if you want something bad enough. You got to work. It's so cliche, but you got to be different from everybody else to get the places where you want to go. You can't be like the normal. You know what I mean? Both of you know that.
That's right.
Cool. So yeah, you said you did a lot of training with your dad before school and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to like a lot of showcases? Did you play on a lot of travel teams, or just you?
I played with one team that really growing up. It was the Richmond Braves. Richmond's like a kind of a central northern Virginia type deal. And I played with a bunch of different Braves teams growing up from 12 years old to 18 years old, but it was with all the same coach. I'm gonna give a shout out to my travel ball coach Ty Rivers. He's a Norfolk guy. He played baseball at Radford. He was really successful there, but yeah, he's honestly probably the coach that's taught me the most growing up. Yeah, Ty Rivers, shout out that guy. Awesome guy.
Yeah, I did a little stalking. I don't know you too much. I had to go on like your bio and stuff like that, and I saw it says you're a 7-year utility player on that team.
Is that what it says?
That's what it says in your bio.
I probably played every position in the book there except catcher. Never got into that.
Never got into
You're talking
catching.
two
What's your
catchers.
favorite position?
My favorite position, it's probably second. It's just what
Wow,
I've been.
shocker.
Shocker.
Wow. Could have said shortstop.
I mean, I could say shortstop, but like second base is what I've had the most memories of me being the best player I am at. You know what I mean? So, two-bagger, awesome position. You get to make a lot of weird throws from some weird angles. They're not that far either. Nice and easy on your arm. It's the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you play any sports in high school, like other than baseball?
Oh yeah, I did. Did a little bit of wrestling.
Okay.
I did. I did some basketball. I did some basketball in middle school, which I mean I was not very good at. I was probably 5'4", $130 in middle school, and just getting bullied out there by the bigger kids, the bigger 8th graders. So that sport never panned out. But the wrestling, I was a solid wrestler in middle school and early high school. I just had to kind of give it up at one point because it was just too much on the body for me to continue. It kind of just held me back from doing the best work in baseball that I could do. You know what I mean? Yeah.
When was that? When did you give it up?
I gave it up 10th grade, I think.
Okay, so still a little late.
Yeah, I had 3-4 years of it.
And would you say like wrestling and doing other sports like help diversify like your athleticism for playing second base, making those weird throws, or what would you say?
I would say wrestling for sure, because I mean you get put in a lot of weird positions when you're wrestling. Your body. I don't know if Joe, you're a big UFC guy. I know Sparber, or Chris, you're a huge UFC guy. But
yeah, Joe's a jiu-jitsu
really,
jiu-jitsu guy. Yes.
Yes, I'm looking to get into it. I know Chris knows that, but I mean, you see like their legs when they get tied up, just I think it definitely it trains your bones and your muscles to be in weird positions and be comfortable in those positions. So, yeah, I definitely think that helps making weird throws on the run or diving out for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty cool to hear because me and Joe both martial arts backgrounds with jujitsu and boxing, all that kind of stuff. Our
Hmm.
guest last week, Gabe Rivera,
Yeah.
also trained martial arts every day, and he said how much of like an increase it had with his like versatility on the baseball field. So that's a really cool. That's really cool because like you don't really hear many baseball players talking about martial arts helping them. They're talking about
Yeah.
more baseball, football, and stuff like that. So that's
I
really cool.
yeah, definitely for all the young guys out there, like not not just saying like MMA or wrestling, but definitely not they're doing sports growing up through middle school and high school. I'd say do as many as you can with because so many different sports just help you stay athletic and versatile in different ways that you might not even know you need on the baseball field.
Yeah, we really try to advocate that too, like to everyone we speak to or people who ask us questions about like playing multiple sports or hyper focusing just on baseball. And we
Hmm.
just say what we did and what everyone we know did, just try to diversify yourself as much as possible because late high school, when college comes around, you're not going to have that option. You're going to have to pick one. So it's cool to
Um,
just do multiple.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Chick, let me ask you: when you're in high school, where were you compared to the other kids that you're playing against? You mentioned that where you were in Virginia wasn't really a big baseball area, but when you went to play travel ball or whatever, like how'd you measure up against the other competition?
I think I think I was every bit as talented as those guys. I just needed to get to a real college level, like this college program, to be able to learn how to use my skills to stack up against the best. So I think I had it in me. I just didn't really know how to use it yet. But I could hang. I mean, I would get hits every game. I there was I stacked up pretty well. Just didn't quite know what type of player I was yet. Especially seeing playing against guys like there was a kid. His name was Raleigh Hector. He went to Texas A&M. I don't know where he is now, but it was pretty crazy growing up, being like 12 years old and seeing like those kids that got the early growth spurts. They're like 5'10" already, and they're just hitting absolute swamp donkeys with drop fives. I mean, it was nuts seeing those, but those were like the ultra out of the ordinary kids, but most of them I stacked up well against.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. I mean, every hitter that we've had on this podcast was a big swamp donkey type hitter,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we have a guy here who, you know, is a smaller player.
Hmm.
For the younger listeners, smaller player
Yeah.
and competes at a high level in the ACC, being a smaller player because he knows the type of player he is.
I would say that's the most important thing for a young guy to learn. Obviously, getting stronger, getting faster. You need to do all that to be a good baseball player, but knowing what you're good at and just running with it. That's what you got to do. Just think of a guy like I've talked to you about him before, Chris, but like think about Stephen Kwan, who's in the league, right? Like,
Mhm.
if you think back in high school and college, he was just trying to get huge and obliterate balls over the right field wall. Like MLB scouts wouldn't. At least I don't think they would pick up on a guy like that who's trying to do something out of the ordinary, something that he doesn't have in him. He can hit line drives up the middle and run fast, and he ran with it, and look where the guy is now. He's a big leaguer. He's
Not
a big
everyone's
leaguer.
6'8", 280 like Aaron Judge. So
No, they're not. Everyone wishes, though. I wish.
everyone does wish. Going back to what you guys were saying before, I don't know what this means, and I'm sure a lot of people don't. Swamp something
Swamp
type of
donkey. I honestly
yeah. Can you
don't even.
explain
I
that?
don't even know where the term comes from. It just means just a nuke, just a big bomb.
Yeah, I actually heard it for the first time from our mutual friend. Shout out to Lucas Bosinger from Lewisburg College. He is 6'5", 260, baseball player. Okay, like, this guy, absolute monster. And he, I sent him a video or something. I had a home run, and he calls me up. He's like, "Dude, that was a swamp donkey," and I was like, that's got to be a Virginia thing, right? Like, that's got to be a Lynchburg, Virginia thing. And he's like, no, like, people say swamp donkey all the time.
I
But
I
yeah,
don't I don't think you said it to me at school. I think it was me saying it to you for the first time.
yeah. And I was like, well, I
I think
guess
I've
it is a
heard
Lynchburg thing, huh?
that. Shout out Boziger.
Oh man, I
I
hope
feel
he
like
listens.
I feel like I got that first from you guys know like the old PlayStation game Mega Baseball. You know that game?
Probably play. Yeah, I think I played it once or twice.
It's like a little animated. I mean, and you got guys on there that are just juiced out of their minds, just hitting swamp donkeys. That's all it is. Yeah.
Oh man, oh that's great. Um,
It's a new
so
word
yeah,
to
so
add to
now,
the arsenal.
yeah, so when we're playing wiffle ball in the backyard, you could just talking crap and saying, "Oh, it's a swamp donkey over the house. Welcome to it."
Yeah, literally. We went from Terrell saying his Spanish lines to Swamp
Yeah.
Donkey.
Um,
Well,
yeah,
what were some of his Spanish lines? What do you got?
Like Payakaye, like Bada Bing Payakaye, he would always scream all the time, like when he hit a home run and stuff like that.
I don't even know. I don't know what that means. I
It's
do
like
know.
hitting it to the street.
Yeah, I do know. Kohei.
Yep.
Kohei from Anthony Arguelles.
He would say it nonstop. How would he say it? Give him an example of how he would say it.
I don't want to be too loud, but I feel like he would K a guy on the weekends and he'd just come off the mound. Kohei! Kohei!
Oh, that's
Uh,
great.
Oh man, he would be screaming whatever in Spanish. Joe, you went to Miami. I'm sure that happened, on a day in day out basis.
That's all it
From the
was. Yeah, it was
from
only
coaches and
Spanish.
players, and Tony was the only he was the only person who spoke Spanish on our team, maybe in the whole school. So he would just be saying it whenever, and everyone was like, "What?" You know. But yeah, no, that's funny. So now let's talk about, obviously, you're in high school, senior year, ready to go to college. You step first day on campus. You go there in August. What was the experience? What was the transition like from high school to college?
the the transition, I think it was eye opening because not only just living on a college campus, living on your own for the first time, but seeing just the talent of the older guys on the teams. Like a lot of people, a lot of freshmen in general step on a campus thinking like, man, I'll know the most like about baseball on this team. I'll have the most skills. I'll be the strongest. And then you walk into that weight room on day one at 6 a.m. and you just got these bigger, older guys lifting a lot bigger. They're stronger than you. They're faster. So the transition can be scary if you let it be, but you just gotta go with the flow and get into all your routines, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I would definitely say, especially coming from like a small town, like Chris and I coming
Hmm.
from a small town too. Uh, we're the big fish in like small ponds, so like we're like
Yeah.
think we're the best. Obviously, like you're comparing yourself to talent that like that's around you. And it's not like it's bad talent, but it's like
Mm-mm.
You were better, and then you got to go to a big time school, and then going to a
Yeah.
big time school, you're like, oh boy.
I mean, some
So a
guys I
lot of our
can.
guests we've had are
Yeah, there's some.
over.
I got you. There's some guys that like day one walking in. I'm sure you guys know the names. Like walking in watching Jack Hurley hit the baseball 116 miles per hour on a daily basis. Watching Gavin Cross, who was a ninth round pick a few years ago, just absolutely hammer balls over the batter's eye. Watching Nick Biddison, who got picked up by the Dodgers, just he, he's a guy that I would say he just knew what he was good at and he ran with it. Tanner Schobel, like a second round pick for the Twins. So that team, the team when I walked in freshman year was just nuts talents wise. So it was super eye opening on the things I needed to work on and get better at if I want to get to a skill level that I could be a professional baseball player.
Yeah, I mean that's if Gavin Cross is listening to this, I apologize. Not ninth round, ninth overall pick
Did I say round?
to the
Sorry,
to the
overall.
Kansas City Royals.
That's disrespectful.
You just smacked them down right there. Wow, the highest pick in Virginia Tech history in baseball, and you just give them the ninth round. But no, that's good. Like you're seeing guys that are doing it, have been there doing it. They're different. Like those guys are different, but like going in there as a freshman, I feel like okay, these guys are different, but I can be different too.
Right.
And I think tell me if I'm wrong, Joe. You went into a big school as a freshman. I went to a junior college as a freshman. It was a little different, but how important is it to basically shadow the older guys that are doing it day in and day out?
You go ahead, Joe.
I thought it was the biggest thing for me. I was like our two team captains, Mike Burns and Jeb. One was a pitcher, one was a center fielder, and they just like I don't know. It feels like they had their whole life together, and I was just someone running in circles trying to figure out what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So watching, especially Mike, because he was a hitter. Like I was a hitter, obviously, like a position player, and Mike would just like day in and day out get to the field, work out, do the right thing, get to class. Never really got in trouble, and like just like following what he did, kind of like not really influenced me, but like made me like stay on track. Just because I know if the older guys are doing that, I have to do that. So
Yeah.
I thought it was very beneficial.
Yes, and I think a guy freshman year I probably looked up to the most just because he looked like. I mean, when you walk into a place day one and you can pick out a guy that just looks like he has his stuff together. He knows what he's doing day in and day out. He has a plan. He knows what to do. He knows what he needs to do to execute it. I'd say that was probably Biddison, Nick Biddison, my freshman year. He was a utility guy. He could catch. He could play second base, shortstop, third stop, and then he could run and catch balls anywhere in the outfield and throw guys out at home when he needed them to. So just looking up to guys like that and knowing that maybe if you're good at a position, like you could always work at another position just because it'll always help you out in the long run to get on fields and stay on fields, really.
The mayor, Nick Biddison, the mayor.
Nick Biddison, yep.
Mayor of Blacksburg. That's what I heard him. He actually took me on my visit to Virginia Tech, and that was he did. That was it was a good time. So Blacksburg. Obviously, we've talked about Miami. I mean, most of our guests are University of Miami former players, and we talked to a guy from Queens, St. John's. Blacksburg is completely different than Miami and New York. Okay, Blacksburg, I want you to explain the setting that Virginia Tech is in.
Okay. I would just say we went to Miami this past year and we were on South Beach and I was just like, what the hell is going on? Like it was nuts. But Blacksburg, Virginia is up in the mountains. You got to take Road 81 about 100 miles just going like this the whole time. You're going nowhere else but Blacksburg, Virginia. There's nothing else around it. You're in Southwest Virginia. It's cold. It's pretty when in the fall the leaves are out, but it almost feels like everybody's. It's a country setting, and it's the big sport here is football. So that's what you really hear about, or what you think about when you hear Virginia Tech. I feel like is Lane Stadium and the Inner Sandman entrance, and it's like hard to explain just because I love the place so much. It's like when I come here, it feels like home. But from the Hokie Stone to just walking on the drill field through campus, the drill field's like a big area in the center of campus where all the cadets do their stuff. Yeah, man, the place is just awesome. You come here and you don't want to leave after you stay here for a few years. It's an awesome place.
I definitely remember going with to see it with Chris and stuff. Like, definitely a fresh air out there. Nothing around you.
Yeah, there's
No,
nothing.
like
There's no
nothing else.
big chain restaurants. A lot of family-owned stores. A lot of it's an awesome place. I love it.
Yeah, when you're in a place like that, a lot going on in that one spot, and there's nothing else going around there. It's like you got nowhere else to go either way. If you don't like it, you got nowhere else to go. You're right there.
Yeah.
It's either that or you're going to go climb a mountain because that's all you got.
I know.
But there is so much on the campus that you don't even need to leave. You don't even want to.
No.
Like you mentioned, you don't even want to leave. It's like home. And I remember going to my first football game, Enter Sandman, and I was walking into the stadium, and it was vibrating, like my feet were vibrating,
and
it was
nuts.
It was unbelievable. Like, and it was just such a cool experience. Like, I don't know who we played, but we probably lost, but still, the beginning of the game was electric. I mean, if you're not, when I tell you, when Enter Sandman came on, I think I was standing next to you. I don't know who I was standing. It might have been near you, and you're like, "All right, watch this." So I was like, "Okay." Next thing you know, I'm ready to just hop on the football field, no pads, whatever. I'm taking someone out. Okay, so
that's nuts.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable.
Was that the first game last year?
I think
it was a Boston College game, night game.
Yeah, Boston College. Yep.
Nuts.
Oh man, nuts. I mean, it was probably like 45 degrees with wind, but like
you just didn't feel it though.
You didn't feel nothing.
Felt like 90 out.
Adrenaline. Yeah, it was unbelievable. So so that's Blacksburg, Virginia for you. So now, okay, let's bring it back to
that's the stadium where you do the Hokie Challenge, right? Those are the stairs you guys climb.
Hokie Challenge.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of things about it. What are your thoughts?
The Hokie Challenge. It's a lot of schools do like the Omaha Challenge where it's a week long, but I don't know why we don't. We do it's the Hokie Challenge. This past year we did it. We started at like 9 p.m. for some reason. It was like 28 degrees outside. It was awful. I mean, but I think it's really just a challenge, not necessarily to see like who wins, who's the baddest guy out there, but it's just who's got heart and who can finish it. You start off, so Blacksburg, a lot of the sports buildings, they're all up like North Campus, are all in the same area. So you start off in the football indoor, and you do like 200 yards worth of sled pushes with some weight on it. And so after that, you're already, I mean, sled pushes, you guys, they're tough. They burn you out real quick. Yeah. So you do that, then you're already gassed out, and you run across the football practice field into the tunnel where the football players come out during Inter Sandman.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You run through the tunnel, you get to slap the Hokie Stone up on the top.
It's not cool when you're doing it.
It's not
cool.
Like,
I don't care about this. You're like, I don't care about this tunnel one bit.
Nope. You want to get out of that tunnel as quick as possible.
Yep.
But so you get on that. So you run through the tunnel. You get on you run across the football field onto I want to say it's the west side stands, which is the big steep side at Lane Stadium, and you snake it. You snake all of them. It's like
The
five up,
whole thing.
it's like 5 up, 5 down. I mean, you got some. I'm not going to call them out, but you got some young guys tapping out on the first steps. It's tough, but it requires so much because you're going to get tired no matter what. But it comes down to how much willpower do you have to finish this thing, and that's just the steps. The steps is just one of the beginning parts of it, which
Yeah, I
is
think it's the worst part, but
yeah, it's the worst part by far. I mean,
yeah,
and yeah, it's awful. I don't even want to think about doing it at the end of this fall. But so you finish the steps, you run out on the opposite end of the stadium, and you go to like this 40-yard steep ass hill, like a quarter mile away, and do like 5 pushes with a med ball where you're basically crawling up the hill, pushing the med ball at the same time. And Coach Elbin's running that station. Our hitting guy, he's a little fireball. So if he sees you slacking off, he's gonna get on your ass. And at that point, you don't want to listen to one thing that's coming out of his mouth because you're just thinking about the finish line. But
yeah, you get real mad real fast when he's talking. You just want to be like, okay, all right.
so you do.
Yeah,
you do that. Then you run across campus a little more to the track. Or Chris, you didn't do this when we were here. They actually took it down a little bit last year, but last year we just did lunges with sandbags on our back for like, I want to say 20 yards for about 4 times. But a couple years ago you did lunges around the whole track. It was 1 lap, so like a quarter mile. It's brutal. I mean, absolutely brutal. And you finish that, and then you run up to the practice soccer field, which is just a long uphill run. You get to the soccer field, you do 45 weighted carries for 50 yards down and back, and you do a bunch of like speed ladder hops over not the speed ladder, but like the taller hurdle ladders. And you finish that, you run across the soccer field to the baseball field, where you have, I want to say 7 or 8 stations around the warning track where you do 5 burpees at each station. And I mean, honestly, at this point, you're not even conscious anymore. You just, I mean, it's a hard feeling to explain, honestly.
yeah. No, it's definitely.
But then
it was definitely something.
It's an experience. But so you do the burpees and you run to first base, and then it's just pretty much comedy from there. You barrel roll to second base, so you get all dizzy, and then you log roll to third base. So by the time you get up, you have to run home from third base, and you're just absolutely disoriented on where you are. So you got guys tripping and falling all over the place, and you touch home, and you're done.
Yeah.
Would you say those early mornings with your dad before high school in the cold kind of like gave you some mental resilience to get through it?
I would say the waking up early maybe, but the cold definitely. You gotta get real comfortable in the cold. Me and Chris last year got real comfortable in the cold. He got a kiddie pool. We fill it with ice. Do the ice baths every morning before class.
Oh, you do it with him?
Oh yeah, I'll do it with him all the time.
Chick, I want you to kind of elaborate more on that. On like it's very popular now. Me and Joe were doing it for a couple of years before it got popular. But the plunge, the cold plunge, like,
Okay.
Actually, before that, I just have to show everybody what these stairs look like. Okay, it's not your
show the
normal
stairs.
high school stairs. Okay, let's get that straight. Let me share this real quick. All right.
Show those stairs.
Oh, I'm showing them. Don't you worry.
Brutal. Oh yeah, that side right there.
Right. You see that side right there? You snake all those steps right there. Every opening you
down,
see.
up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Non-stop.
Wow.
But yeah, get ready for it. It's
and
coming.
that's just like station number 2.
Yeah, that's station number 2. I mean, and the campus is big. I mean, got 40,000 people at the school. This campus is big.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's, people might be thinking, oh, like that doesn't seem too bad, but let me tell you, when you're in the when it's 20 degrees, 9 p.m. and you're running, you taste the blood coming from your lungs.
That's
the
that's
worst part.
a feeling you don't get a lot, but when you're done, when you touch home plate and you just absolutely collapse on the ground, you taste blood and you're like, am I okay right now? It's just a bad night's what it is. It's a very rewarding night though.
Before we started, we were watching hardest hits, NFL hardest hits of all time.
We were in our team room, and I think I was on the computer. I needed something just to get the team going. But I think I looked up David Goggins. We were watching Goggins videos at first. And then I was like, it just popped into my head. Everybody knows that famous NFL hardest hits, the Here Comes the Boom video. Threw that on, got the team riled up. It was awesome.
It was awesome. I was fired up. I was like, let's go.
I know.
Let's go. What if all right. All right. So, yeah, after I showed you the stairs, I wanted to go back to where we were just talking about the plunge, the cold plunge. You see it's very popular now on social media or whatnot, but how much has explain the plunge and how much has it benefited you?
So the plunge is, the best time to do it is dead smack in the middle of winter because you can get your water at home to freeze over. But, so the plunge is, it's just water anywhere from, you probably want it less than 50 degrees, or if it's a really cold day, which it does get super cold here in Blacksburg, the water will be, 33 degrees. And I'd say the toughest battle is right before you get into it. And when you get into the water and guys will vary on how long they stay in there from anywhere. I think I'll do 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, but you get in and it's just a mental battle. That first 10 seconds, I'd say, is your body just telling you, get out, get out, get out. But then you stay in for probably 20 seconds and your body kind of goes numb. You don't really feel it as much and you just feel like the absolute man when you're in there. And yeah, that's the plunge. And for me, I would say it obviously has the health benefits of not slowing down, or speeding up recovery. It will reduce inflammation. It'll wake you up before the day to get your morning going so you don't have to drink a cup of Joe from McDonald's. It's a healthier alternative. But yeah, for me, it's kind of that first step in the day of, I got a small battle that I'm about to go through. How can I win this and get that first W of my day going? So I'm all about not necessarily a schedule of completing a schedule. If I just have something that I want to get done through the day, I feel like I need to do it, or else that's a small loss in my day. You know what I mean?
I watched a McGregor podcast recently. Conor McGregor, one of the best ever in the UFC. Both of you know him, but he was talking about little mental battles throughout his day, and he was talking about before he fought Khabib how he would set a time to wake up, and he didn't wake up at the time. He'd set a time to work out, he wouldn't work out at the time. So just you'd rather, when you want to do something through your day, you need to do it because those little wins just add up rather than those little losses. And you'll just get so much more done throughout the day. You'll feel better about yourself and you'll just be kicking ass.
Start snowballing with it then. Once you get one,
Yeah.
it comes 2, 3.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, actually, I think that we were saying like this is, in my eyes, I think the small wins stack slower. Small losses fall. They just completely bring you down.
Yeah, they do.
It's harder to stack wins than it is because you can easily, when the losses start adding up, they just completely drop. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like the GPA. Okay. If you start, it's harder to bring it up, but it's easy for it to go down. I don't know why, but that's how it is.
Yeah,
But it's the same thing.
That's the truth. I mean, you can get A's on assignment, but you get one bad grade, and you.
That's
great.
it.
Yeah, the ice bath, that's like the first battle I have through the day, the winter. Get the W going, gets the day started.
That's great.
Yeah,
Joe,
about
what
the
is
ice
it?
bath.
Yep.
Go on, Chris. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, what is the ice bath for you?
Yeah, I was gonna say that I could lecture about the benefits health wise of the ice bath, but like I wish I did it when I was in high school because in Miami there's no ice bath. Like you have to go to the indoor facility or you have to go get ice, and like I never did that before like a baseball game or like weeks before a game. I've spoken to Chris about this a lot, but like, what do you personally feel like after you do the ice bath consistently day in and day out for months? Like your confidence up at bat, like. Do you have like a whole like you're not going to get me out? Like I could do this, I could do anything.
I think, yeah, throughout at bats, but also like I think it helps me when it's freezing outside during games. It's like I've been here before. I know how to slow my breathing down. I know how to warm my body up by itself. I know what this is like. So, yeah, the ice bath is like it sucks. Like you need to do something that sucks every day, and that's what I do. That sucks. So you live in the suck, and you know what it's like, and you get comfortable in it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said you talked about the breaths because for me personally, obviously, when you get in the ice bath, you need to control your breathing. If you control your breathing, you're getting out of sorts because you need to. It's a perfect example because let's say you go up to the plate and you're nervous. Young listeners, you're nervous. You're at the plate. It's a big game, big crowd. Even if you're playing in college and you can still listen to this, that feeling that you have in the ice bath, controlling your breathing in a big moment, there's nothing going to be harder that I know of than the ice bath for that 3 minutes. If you can control your breathing in that type of environment, when you step into a box and there's thousands of fans out there, you can control your breathing and you can relax in that situation. So I think
that
that's how
nervousness,
it's
that
helped me
pit
the
goes
more.
away.
Of course, that's what it's helped me the most with that. I mean, for me, I love the ice bath. Obviously, I'm in it.
Great. I recommend.
I just you can notice the difference. Chick, we talked about this a lot. We'd come into the locker room and you'd be like, "Do we do the ice bath today?" And if you did the ice bath that day, it's like, I'm wired. I'm wired in class. I'm wired all day. And you're not. You're like, oh, I'm mad. I'm pissed off. So
Yeah, because you feel like, I mean, back to what I was saying, it's those little losses. Just you got to stack up those wins, and especially with that ice bath, those 3 minutes feel a lot longer than 3 minutes. But until
Time
when you
seems to slow down.
When you learn to get comfortable in it, though, that's when you know you got something going. When you start to look forward to it a little bit, you're like, man, I'm getting a little crazy.
Yeah, I mean, everyone talks a big game. Everyone that came over, they're like, it can't be that bad. Mm-hmm. They get in for the first time. They're out in 20 seconds max, and they're you're calling them out. Wow.
Oh my gosh. I'm a name drop.
Name dropping Dimer. Wow. But yeah, no, like that's how it is. And to be honest with you, the body is a wonderful thing. Joe, obviously, you know plenty about the body, and you know how your body could adapt to certain things. I tell you this one. I'll tell you guys this one thing. Your body will not adapt to going into that ice bath every day. It sucks every single day, no matter what.
Yeah.
So don't get
Never
worried
gets
about
easier.
doing it too much. It never gets easier. Not once.
It doesn't. You just
Yeah.
it never gets easier. You start to understand it, if that makes sense. You understand where you are and how to deal with it.
Yeah, you know how
Yeah.
bad it's going to be. You know how much it's going to suck, and you do it anyway.
I dread it. I mean, I go in all the time and I dread it every morning, no matter what. Because my routine is I wake up once my feet hit the ground. I don't even put shoes on. I sleep in my underwear, so I just walk down. I just literally walk down the steps, and I'm not pumped. I'm not excited for it, but I'm like, this is what I have to do. This is the first thing of the day, and I got to do it. And the same thing for you. When you were coming over, you're like, man.
It's like 7 a.m. before class, and just like, what am I doing here? I don't even know. That's literally what would go through my mind, because I would usually let Chris go first, and I would just watch him through the window. And I'd just be like, what am I doing here? But no, it's so beneficial.
I mean, because people don't understand.
So you started it this year?
Yeah, I started it this year. I think the first one I did was summer ball a few summers ago. And then I guess, Chris, me and you talked about it probably in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the kiddie pool. And yeah, you got the kiddie pool. We did it all fall. And then I got my dad into it, actually, when we went back home in the winter. And yeah, it's not only beneficial for athletes, just everyday person. It's so beneficial.
Yeah, no, I want you to explain to the viewers how much it's helped your dad with just everything.
Everybody everybody has their schedules throughout the day, and same way with him that it is with me. It's just something that he needs to do through his day to get that little small battle win, whether that's doing it right when he wakes up, or the suck for him is getting off of a 12-hour shift at the hospital and coming home, and he's got that in his mind all the way driving home that I got the ice waiting for me. I mean, I haven't taken a bite to eat all day, and I got the ice waiting for me. But I think it just gives them clarity. I think it gives people clarity, and because after you do it, I don't know if you two can relate, but you just feel like you can accomplish so much more after it. So I think that's what has helped him. It helps him get stuff done around the house when he doesn't want to do it. Helps him start his day, get going. It's helped him. So he's trying to do a lot of exercising and getting his body back where he wants it. And I think that helps him in a big way. Just getting his day started with the ice, and then he can get after, because you can get after whatever you want to get after that.
That's right, Joe. One more thing on the ice bath. I just want you to just give. I mean, there's plenty of health benefits, but just tell us two health benefits that our viewers can take away from it today.
I think the two biggest ones, other than the mental side of it that we spoke about, it's your liver is going to release something. Cold shock proteins will get released, and it's really going to help your body fight off inflammation, fight off like bad cancer cells, but also a drop in cortisol levels. So, like we said in the morning, as soon as you do it, your cortisol levels come down, and you start feeling better about yourself. Like your energy increases, your mood increases, and you just feel like a happier person.
Yeah. Can I add something on that? I forgot to mention it,
Oh
but
yeah.
the what you said about not diseases necessarily, but I think the span of I need to get back into it on like a daily basis, but the span where me and Chris were doing it basically every day towards the end of the fall up until the season started, I don't even think I had the sniffles like during the winter. Like, it was nuts. Like, I didn't get sick one time. That's just something I noticed about it. I don't know if there's science behind that, but yeah, I just did not get sick at all when I usually get sick throughout the winter.
Wow, I
I
mean
think
that's
Chris, you're
great.
the same way, right? You usually get sick all the
Same way.
time.
Yeah, I usually get sick all the time. I started doing the ice and just really haven't got sick. Thankfully. Also, with that, I talked to somebody who was dealing with a lot of anxiety. About like they were just thinking about the future too much, getting very anxious and like get upset about little things throughout the day because they're so anxious. And I told them, you know what, get in the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Thought I was nuts. I said, get in the ice. Get in the ice every day. He was like, no. I was like, I'm telling you, get in the ice every day, and I promise you, things will start looking up. He started getting in the ice every day. Guess what? Anxiety's gone.
No.
Guess what? He does it every single day. He needs it. He calls me every day, and he's like, I need this was the best thing ever. It's helped me out so much. I'm happy. I'm not anxious. I'm not depressed. Everything just changed for me when I started going to the ice every day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that goes to show.
Yeah, for some listeners, you don't necessarily have to start with the ice baths because they are tough, especially for the beginners. You can just start with your morning showers, before class, before work. You don't have to go completely cold, but if you start your shower warm, just slowly work your way towards the end, go colder and colder until you just build up more of a tolerance and you can work your way up. Super beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was 2012, 2013 when Joe, you started having us do cold showers in the morning. Just
Yeah, Chris and I started back in like 8th grade or like 9th grade.
Really?
yeah,
That's
we
good.
just we would just get up and he's just like, get in the cold shower. I was like, all right, and it would just be
We were
no, the
addicted to
cold
Iceman
shower.
Hoff.
Yeah, yeah, the cold shower was brutal. I was like, this is brutal. Like I was losing my breath in the cold shower.
The,
Now I'll go upstairs and I'm just like, dude, like I need the cold shower. Just give it to me. And I'm just like, all right.
honestly,
You
the
know.
shower's tough because it just keeps on hitting you.
The water
Yeah.
doesn't get warm.
The water, you gotta move your feet and hands around to swish it back, but yeah, the shower just keeps on hitting you.
Well, I'm glad I did those cold showers in middle school and stuff like that because when I first got to JUCO, that's all we had. So um, I'm glad I was used to it by then.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's talk a little bit about your freshman year of college. The season rolls around and it's your first like college season, and how did that go for you? Like, how was that learning experience?
So, I think freshman year I probably learned the most, just because of the guys I mentioned earlier. I was watching them every day. I didn't start. I probably started 12 games my freshman year, and it was a huge learning experience because, like we've said in this podcast, growing up in the small town, we were the big fish, and you never think you're gonna go into a position of, damn, I'm not even playing. Like, so you'll doubt yourself. But I think a lot of the times where you don't play is when you learn the most about the game and you learn most about yourself and how much mental strength you have to keep going. And so my role was really, I started like a few midweek games and I would get some pinch hit opportunities late in games on like the ACC series, which was tough. Sitting there for 3 hours in a game against Georgia Tech, and I get the chick swing a bat call. You're on deck. It's just like, uh-oh, here we go. And not a lot of people. That's it right there. Grab a bat, and it's tough. Like coming off the bench, you can especially nighttime, it's hard to see the ball. It's hard to see spin, so you're just sitting dead red fastball praying it comes. And yeah, freshman year was like learning experience. I had to get better at defense. I was not a very good defender coming into college. I think that was the main reason why I was not on the field, is because I couldn't be trusted on the defensive side of things. So freshman year for me was all about learning what I needed to get better at and working while I waited. I had to work while I waited. That's what I like to say. Didn't play.
What did you do to get better at defense?
I worked out after practice every day with my two roommates, Carson DiMartini, who's our third baseman, and Warren Holzheimer, who's one of our shortstops. We would go out there, and I give a lot of credit to Carson, who's in the other room. He taught me a lot about just footwork and how to get to balls efficiently, how to throw out of a single shuffle. Give a lot of credit to Elvin too for ripping ground balls at us every day. Just it was all about the repetition day to day to me. I had to do it a lot, and I still continue to have to do it a lot just to maintain the footwork and the skill that's involved in needing to make all sort of plays.
Yeah, that's great. I remember going to see you play against UNC with mutual friend Boz, uh, and he was telling me like, you know, Chick's gonna get in, Chick's gonna get in. And I was like, okay, all right. You ended up getting in that game. Um, I'm not sure what you did there, but the next day you got to start.
I got that was my first ACC start. It was like I want to say maybe second or third ACC weekend. It was at UNC. I got the pinch hit on the Saturday night game. Struck out to an absolutely obliterous call. Oh man, that sucked. But yeah, Sunday we were up 2-0 in the series, so that's what college coaches do a lot of the time. If you've won the series on Friday, Saturday, they'll put in the guys that don't have a lot of experience in on Sunday to get the start. And yeah.
Yeah, if any ACC umpires are listening to this, I'm gonna have to agree with Chick here. Late in the game, you stay there for that pinch hitter. You stay there, you give them the call because they don't know what it's like.
Oh.
But before I get into that,
I have to
let me
agree
show
too.
you. let me just show everybody what Chick did on his first ACC start in a UNC game.
First at bat too.
My fault. First at bat. All right. Thanks for correcting me on that one. I apologize.
It's been a common
So
theme.
here we go.
Oh, PW
Yeah.
Martin.
PW Martin. Shout out to Chick's dad. Here we go.
Goodness, little boy. Looked like he weighs about $165.
It's a big field too, UNC.
I think I got around the bases in 8 seconds.
I'm gonna ask if you knew that the let's see what we got here. Hammer time. Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you knew that it went out. Maybe you didn't know it went out and you were just trying to stretch a triple.
I mean, no.
Or you're just pumped up.
It was, it was freshman year. I made solid contact and I was just off to the races. I didn't know what I was doing.
Your helmet almost fell off.
That was the first ACC hit, I guess. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
For a homer. That's funny
That's
because
three. That's three.
That's 3 people in their first ACC hit is home run.
A home run.
Yeah.
Terrell, Gabe Rivera, and you. 3 guys on our podcast so far.
Jeez.
Incredible. So obviously you guys that year, the 2022 Hokies, number 2 team in the country. You got up to. You guys were absolutely killing it. You guys were beating up teams every weekend. So I mean, yeah, you guys are a really, really strong team and high expectations going into the next year. So you go play summer ball in the Valley League, I believe,
Yeah, Valley League, Charlottesville.
and you play in Charlottesville and you kill it, right? I mean, you kill it in Charlottesville. You work on your defense, and you go into the fall with high expectations for the team and for the squad, and you're still fighting for the starting job. So
Yeah.
tell us about going into the year now. You're a sophomore, high expectations on the team, and you're still fighting for a job.
Um, so it was really exciting to think about what the team could do and what our offense could do. But yeah, coming off the really good summer, I think I hit like 400 in the Valley League. I mean, it was, and then came back still not knowing if I'm gonna be like that everyday second baseman that I wanted to be. So it was still just, man, I'm like I don't have this spot yet. I can't be comfortable. I gotta go at this every day like somebody's coming for my job still, which was what it ultimately was. But I think that ultimately just made me like mentally stronger because I'd gone through what I did freshman year, not playing a lot, and then coming back, not wanting the same thing to happen. It really pushed me to be better. And I didn't start this past year either.
That's
Again,
right. Now we laugh about it. We look back. We're like, remember when at Charleston when you were just talking about like how like
yeah,
we got to get you in the lineup and all that kind of stuff, and then we laugh back at it now. But yeah, no, you didn't start. I remember in the cage that the weekend. I think it was the Thursday before we left. Maybe it was the Wednesday night
I
before
think it
we
was a
left, and we're like,
Wednesday right before we left on Thursday.
and when you looked at me, you're like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it this weekend.
Yeah, because
I'm gonna do it this weekend.
we
I was
knew.
gonna yeah. You're like, I'm gonna take it this weekend. I was like, okay, let's do it, and you did.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It was really cool. I mean, it was cool to obviously see it because how much we trained in the during the season, off season.
Yeah,
I always give you a tough time to come hit at night because you got biochem, I believe, that you took.
taking it again this semester.
And no, look, yeah, it's a good thing about college. If you don't get it right the first time, you get another crack at it the second time. Um, Honestly, I gotta say, before the podcast started, I asked Joe about biochem, and I was kind of ripping you. I was just like, "Come on, how hard could it be?" And he's like, "You know what? Not an easy course to take."
Joe,
Yeah, especially with you.
I got through organic chemistry, but in the fall, but spring when the season's around, I mean, you just don't want to do schoolwork at all. The biochem, it got the best of me. I'm gonna be honest.
I can't believe they let you take it. Like my advisors wouldn't let me take those classes in the spring. They made me take all like the orgo biochem in the fall
Yeah,
for that
I
reason.
think. Yeah, it's just because didn't. I don't have like a lot of classes left to take because I'm graduating this year, so I have to take all these now. It sucks.
Yeah, those classes suck. Those classes are not fun to take.
No, they're
Especially when
not
you have
fun.
someone like Chris chirping your ear saying, "Oh, you could come to the cage
No.
with me. You don't need to study too much. It's easy."
I think Chris was the happiest person when I told him that I had to drop it at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't necessarily happy. I was just kind of like, I told you so. Like, I actually told you so. But I mean, I always used to. I guess you could say I try to manipulate you into coming and hitting. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
biochem's important and stuff like that. But like, imagine hitting though, like tonight. Like, imagine like
Good.
hitting breakers off of the spin ball.
Yeah.
Um, doesn't that sound good? Um, but yeah, no, obviously the biochem got the best of you, but I would have to say that you got the best of the ACC this year, batting 350. So let's. I mean, that batting 350 in UCC. I mean, that's no joke. I mean, we just talked to all our guests basically that are in the ACC, and they were saying how challenging of a league it was, and
Huh?
we know how up and down baseball is, and this year was up and down for you and stuff like that. But um, tell us about how it was. Obviously I watched it firsthand, but you were just so consistent day in and day out with everything you did. Like, give us a little bit about like your routine to help you, that
Um,
helped you get to do that.
the the routine it wasn't flashy by any means. It was just knowing what I was good at the time, like I stated before this, and just going with it. But the routine, it was do the med balls before the game, our BP rounds. We got 4-6, which is like the 4-6 is the backside round. So like so home plate, and if I'm a lefty, you got like ball zones 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so first round is the 4-6 round, so the outside pitches. You're trying to just hammer backside, and so yeah, that's first round. Then you got a couple 3-5 where you're just trying to work up the middle, and then later on in the year, which Chris actually helped me out a lot with, was those later rounds, just trying to backspin balls, pull side. Yeah, trying to backspin balls like out the park, pull side, in your last rounds of batting practice. Because I mean, it's good to be able to go backside whenever you want to, but when those guys are throwing 95, 96 in on your hands, you got to be able to. I mean, if you can't do it when a BP thrower is throwing 50 miles an hour, you're not going to be able to do it when guys throwing 95, 96. So yeah, my routine, really nothing flashy about it. It's just getting my eyes locked in, being able to hammer anything I want to back up the middle, really.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like what you were mentioning about pulling, I know what the viewers are going to think, like pulling balls in BP for homers. They're like, that you're not supposed to do that. Yeah, no, like totally. Whatever. No, all high school coaches say backside line drive, backside
Mm-hmm.
line drive. That's great. You can hit backside line drive fine. I want to see if you could backspin a ball pull side. I think it's harder to backspin a ball pull side than it is to hit a backside ground ball. And people, yeah, they just don't want you to yank balls. Yeah, we're not
Yeah,
talking about
we're
yanking
not talking
balls. We're
about
talking
ink balls.
about
We're talking about
getting backspin balls to the pull side. Okay,
mm-hmm.
because that's your swing plane being true.
Right,
And if you're not able to do it in BP, how are you going to be doing it in the game?
right.
So
And I think
that's just my thoughts on that.
it helped me out a lot too. I mean, I think after we had that conversation about, man, I really need to start learning how to use that pull side and just batting practice, because midway through the season, I really couldn't. I mean, any ball I hit to the right side of the field in bat practice was just a top spinner, really. And just when you learn how to do it, you just get so much more confidence in your at bats, because, like, like anything this guy throws me, wherever he throws it, I'm gonna be able to touch it, and I'm gonna be able to hit it hard wherever he throws it. So yeah, that's my routine.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, once again, for the young listeners, if you're hitting and you're working backside, which is great, you got to hit backside and you got to keep it low and get the ball deep. They say, but if the guy comes on the mound and he's throwing jet fuel, okay, like he's throwing hard, you have to try to get the barrel out there and pull it. Okay, I'm not saying roll it over, pull it in the air, and I think that will help you. When guys are throwing harder.
Yeah,
But
I mean, trying to go backside is not going to work. Like when you got a big guy like Andrew Walters on the mound. That guy, whew, good
Big
stuff.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, guys who throw hard know they throw hard. So like they're gonna try to bust you up inside. Like they're coming after you. They know they throw hard. They're gonna use that to their advantage. So I mean, I
Yeah.
haven't swung in a long time, but I remember specifically Chris analyzing my swing all the time because I was mainly a defensive guy. Chris would always analyze my swing and like try to tell me like this is how the people are gonna pitch to you, like pitchers, like hard throwing guys. So it's really good to like see it from different angles.
Yeah, this guy Chris knows his stuff. I'll be the first one to tell you.
So now that we're in through the year, whatever, we have a. I'm laughing before I even say it. Weekend series against Clemson, right? And let me just give you a little backstory on this game. Okay, Clemson, they're hot. They're really hot.
Scorching.
They're just they beat us down bad first two games. Okay, like we get it. They beat us down, but we're still in the race to make a regional, and we need every game matters, especially in the ACC. So game three. I think it was a doubleheader that we were playing against Clemson on Saturday, I believe. I think it was a doubleheader. Might have been Sunday.
Can't remember.
But whatever. We're losing this game. No surprise. We're losing against Clemson. Okay. When late in the innings, we start rallying.
Hokie
We
started.
start making a comeback. Hokies start coming back. We're coming back from like a 4 or 5 run deficit in the ninth right now. Okay. Jack Hurley hits an absolute missile. He gets on. DeMartini hits him over. A run scores. First and third. I forget who it's the double and a gap. Another run scores. Now we're like tied. I believe we're down one. We're down one. Chick is up. They intentionally walk Chick to first base to load the bases. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. We're down one. Tying run is on third. Clay Grady, one of our most consistent contact guys throughout the whole year, is up to the plate. I'm going to show you what happens. I'm just going to show you what happens here.
Jeez.
So, unbelievable comeback. Everyone in the dugout is fired up. I mean, we're just jumping for joy. We're in it. We're right here.
Until.
So, we're here. We are. I'm actually going to run the inning. I'm going to run the inning a little bit.
Oh, this is great.
Yep. Yep. Here's a double.
Oh, no.
There he is. Gets the intentional walk.
Oh, no.
All's hit. He's safe. Everyone thinks he's safe. Great.
Oh, no. Look at me back there.
Just acted like he didn't do anything wrong. Just sitting there. They think he's out. But why?
Oh, sixer.
Let's see what happens. Ready? He's safe at
Potential.
first. And here we go. Okay. It's a little blurry, but you just completely level.
It was the best. Here it is.
Ooh. Wow.
Oh
Let's see it full speed. Oh, man. Wow. Okay.
I've actually looked at the comments on that, and some were like, "That's the best tackle a Hokies made all year." All right.
You just were telling us how you posted the highlights, the NFL highlight, those hard hitting videos right before the
Keep me on
challenge.
it.
You're living up to it.
Yeah, so I was actually just out for that second baseman. That's really all it was. No, I'm just kidding. But
Yes, yeah.
what do you want me to walk you through it?
I want you to. I just want to know the
Want me to
thought
run you
process
through
of
it?
Yeah, I want you to run me through
Run
it.
you over through it?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right. So, we practiced this play, which I did it at the complete wrong time anyway. Just was not the right time for it. I mean, the play is if there's first and third with two outs, and let's say there's a ground ball in a hole somewhere towards the middle, where if you feel like you can beat the guy coming to the bag, you just run straight through it because you'll get tagged out, yeah, but the run still scores because it's not a force out. So, yeah, it was 1 out, and it was 1 out, and yeah, Clay hits the ball up the middle, and first thing that pops in my head was that play, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be the absolute man. Watch this. And Bertram, the second baseman, catches the ball behind the bag, goes to flip it, and if he flipped it, I would have been fine, but he does not flip it. He sees me, and then he comes straight across the bag, and yeah, I just leveled him. And I looked back, I see the whole dugout cheering, and I'm like, uh-oh, just wait till they see this. But yeah, I
Oh, you
mean,
knew it. As soon as you did it, you knew it.
as soon as I did, I was just like, holy hell. And yeah, it was bad. It was really bad.
I mean, there is not one person in the whole stadium. Everyone was jumping up. Not one person saw that play. We all saw him be safe, and then everything was happening. All I personally see, because he scores. Jack Hurley scores. All I see from Jack Hurley, right next to me, full on sprinting to the middle of the field, and I thought he was going to take out the field umpire, completely take him out.
Oh.
And I just see Chick sitting there on it, just sitting down, and he's just playing with the turf, just playing. I'm like, okay, what happened?
CD when everybody was just like what the hell happened, and like I was still at second base just sitting there like, oh my gosh, I just wish I could melt into this turf and not exist anymore. And CD looked at me, he was mouthing to me, he was like, did you slide? And I was like and then that's kind of when everybody figured out, and just like, wow, yep, we lost.
Yeah, so I mean, Chick. After the game, I
was being a big old baby.
He was just distraught, like Clemson didn't just beat our butts in for the past 2 games, like absolutely just creaming us, and like that they weren't going to come back up in the in the next inning because we had to score another run, and but yeah, that was I just wanted to bring that up because that was probably
it's so funny looking back at it now.
most interesting thing, in that type of situation. You see it sometimes, right? Like in the big leagues and stuff like that. Like, but
Yeah,
when the game's on the line, you don't really see it too much. I mean,
No,
You don't see it in college too much.
I mean, it was.
no.
I mean, there's just not even. You just can't even say anything about it. It's just looking back at one of those things, just like, wow, never do that again. Really, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Probably the second baseman, they don't want to fight you or something. And you get up and try to get in your face.
I mean, he was jumping for joy.
Oh, they just they got the last out. They thought they won the World Series.
Yeah.
I'm like, you just won 15 straight. Relax, okay? Like, we get it.
They did. That was what, their 15th ACC win in a row?
15th ACC win in a row.
Season ended up the same as you guys, though. So
they ended up the same way as us, but we did get another chance at them in the ACC tournament to get back at them, and we just did not. They just were just so hot still.
They had our number. They had our number.
They definitely did. But yeah, so we lose that series. Okay, I don't know. Maybe it was that incident, but after that, you just start going on a tear. I remember after that, you just started just piecing balls up left and right. You're just either pissed off or just, I don't even know.
I don't know what I was. I was just, because I feel like I felt And like I had all the guys coming up to me after the game, like, "Oh man, it's not your fault." Like, how everybody does that after a team
The
loses,
worst
and
thing.
a guy feels like he lost the game for the team, and you have all the guys coming up to him saying, "Oh man, it's a team effort." But yeah, I just felt like, it was like when it comes down to it at the end of that game, that play, like I lost the game for us. You know what I mean? Obviously, the rest of the game happened and could have done stuff before that, but I think I was just like, yeah, I need to do something in these games where it's like it's not going to be on me this time. Can't be on me after that.
Yeah, was it your fault? Probably, but did we handle business anywhere else? No. In any other games? No. But because we played Clemson, and I believe that the next series after that was against the number one team in the country, and that's Wake Forest.
It was Wake, yeah.
And you had a great weekend against Wake. I remember. You had a great weekend. I mean, their relievers were just ridiculous. Obviously, Rhett Lauder, first rounder, was ridiculous. And we go into Wake, tough environment, but I mean, we played really good baseball against them.
We did.
It didn't go our way the first two games, but we took one from them.
Yeah.
And Chick, you actually hit a swamp donkey against them.
I did. I forgot who it was off of, but yeah, it was a Sunday game. Yeah, it was a really good weekend for me. It was a really good weekend for just our hitters in general.
Yeah, we actually hit really well. Against the best staff in the country.
Yeah, unreal staff.
Unbelievable. I mean,
they were just running guys out there that didn't look like they belonged in college when it came down to it, honestly. And
the first two games we faced, we had 19 batters go up against relievers.
Yeah.
And 19 got out and 17 struck out.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll just go to show, because we were one of the best hitting teams in the ACC, and that just goes to show how dominant these guys are. I mean, there's no surprise that they made it so far as they did. It was just it was a great environment to play in as well. I mean, that was jumping. It was jumping, and but you had a swamp donkey against them, a homer down the right field pole.
Short porch at Wake.
Hey, all I remember is
homer.
In my eyes, it's 450 over the trees.
Yeah.
Just because it was 87 off the bat, off the hands, doesn't mean
those guys. Yeah, they strike you out a lot. I think that weekend, I either got a hit or struck out. I was 6 for 11 with 6 hits and 5 strikeouts. So
I'll take that any day of the week.
It's a good weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if those 6 don't fall, now we're hurt.
Tough weekend.
Yeah, right. Now it's a tough weekend.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, so we play Wake Forest. Now it's a must win of the ACC tournament. I believe this is the first time I don't know if you played in the ACC tournament last year.
Didn't.
So this is your first time playing in a big tournament. Obviously, all the eyes are on this tournament. We're in the Dorn Bowl Stadium. Obviously, we played Boston College in an early game, and that was our season game right there, and we started off well. And how was it to play in a nice, highly intense game? Like most of them were, but in the ACC tournament,
I think just because of our situation, I was kind of pissed off throughout the whole game, just because. Everybody knew that if we lose, we had to win the ACC tournament to get into the NCAA tournament, basically. But yeah, just the game, we started off hot like we normally did, the hitters, and I don't want to bash on any of our guys. I'm not trying to do that, but just the same stuff that happened all season kind of just crept in during that game. Just we couldn't quite find it with our arms, and BC slowly started to come back, made a big run, and yeah, they got the best of us that game again. But yeah, playing in high intense games like that are awesome because you're just so locked in on what you want to accomplish that nothing else matters. I think. Got a bitter taste in my mouth. Real bitter.
It's good.
Yeah, it is.
It's good. I mean, so if you were to say what was the biggest game you've played in thus far?
The biggest game I've played in this far?
Mhm.
Probably, I think biggest in terms of, like, you mean like coolest or like most important?
Well, everything. Most important, coolest, everything.
I think the coolest was definitely, I got another ACC start freshman year when we played at Boston College and we got to play the Fenway game. I started the Fenway game.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, I felt so lucky to do that. I was just bunting. I was bunting all game. I was getting the bunt sign all game.
Really?
And
No
I think I got
pesky
it.
pole for you, huh?
I think I hit a double towards it, but yeah, I got like 2 bunts that game. Nice little sacrifices. Yeah, that's probably the coolest atmosphere I've been a part of. I mean, the stadium wasn't filled up by any means, but it was still probably 10,000 people. I mean, it barely filled that place up at all, but it was still awesome. Most importance was probably those weight games towards the end of this season, the BC game and the ACC tournament. Those were the most important. The Clemson game that I turned into Ray Lewis, that was important too. That one didn't go as planned. But yeah.
Oh man, UVA was fun too. UVA was.
UVA, yeah. I don't know how I let that go. UVA was.
I don't know either.
I don't know. That's when Big Chris was an animal that weekend. My goodness. But
Had some beef with them, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, that
How about
rivalry.
you, yeah?
That rivalry was definitely I mean, Chris. You remember we were turning double plays in like game 3, and we would turn double plays, and the whole team's running off the field like we just hit a walk-off grand slam. It was nuts.
No, it was honestly insane. I remember playing on Saturday, and it was just it felt like the whole state of Virginia was in the baseball stadium. It felt like the football stadium was in the baseball stadium. You got people lined up on the grass, just packed, right? And you don't know because you got Virginia Tech fans, which were there more, but you also got a whole bunch of UVA fans.
Mm-hmm.
The rivalry is actually a real thing. I wouldn't say it's as big as Miami FSU, but it's similar in that regard. Like the state of Virginia is not as flashy as Miami and Florida State's rivalry.
It's just gritty.
But it's gritty. It's blue collar workers.
Blue jeans, sweatshirts rivalry.
That's what it is.
I mean?
Blue jeans and you got your trucks. You're pulling up in the truck and it's just
Pulling
bitter.
up in the lifted trucks, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. And
What is that
so
called?
I mean,
The rivalry?
The Commonwealth.
The Commonwealth, that's right.
Yeah.
And honestly, that weekend, UVA was 5th in the country, and they were stomping teams.
Oh my gosh! I mean, dude, I remember. I think it was not their leadoff that Friday night, but I think it was the 2-hole hitter. Was it? It wasn't O'Donnell, was it? But
yeah, I think it was Ethan O'Donnell.
Hackenberg, our guy. He was throwing every pitch in the book he had, and the kid put up like a 15 pitch at bat. I mean, those guys were just not getting out. They were not getting themselves out. They made you get them out. They were good.
Yeah, Hackenberg, our second round pick, he throws 95, 96 mile per hour sinkers. And this kid is 3 inches off the knob, choked up. And he is fouling pitches off into our dugout left and right. Ends up walking, I believe, or getting a hit. And I knew from that point, I was like, this is Friday.
We're in trouble.
I'm like, we got ourselves a long weekend. We got ourselves a long week because we have not been playing good baseball at all. And then I don't know what happened. It was Saturday came around and we just I don't know. I don't know what happened. But
must have been the ice bath that morning or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they weren't doing it. They weren't taking those ice baths.
Nah, UVA.
Because we lost like 8-1 on
Yeah,
Friday, and we're
they
like,
kicked
oh
our
boy,
ass that Friday night game.
yeah, they just beat us down. But yeah, that was a fun weekend. So so let's get back to the ACC tournament. But yeah, obviously season's over. Now you're planning on going to the Cape Cod League. Obviously, we've talked to almost every guest here. Most premier summer ball league in the country.
Yeah.
And you played summer ball before, but now you're going to the Cape. Now you're going where the big dogs are. So tell us about going to the Cape. You just batted 350 in the ACC. Now you're playing in the Cape Cod League.
So the Cape you see a lot of, for a hitter, you see a lot of arms that might not necessarily be like the big ACC, SEC, Miami, LSU arms, but they're from smaller, like mid-major schools, like especially younger kids that just have absolutely crazy stuff. They have flamethrowers on their arms, but they haven't quite figured it out yet. So you don't really know what these guys that you're getting up against, you don't know what type of stuff they're going to have or how they're going to use it. They're just up there throwing. Just the best of the best guys, just trying to figure it out. So it's tough. I mean, I hit like 215 this summer. Like it got the best of me. Like, I mean, and because summer ball, you don't necessarily have so many at bats. Like I got up to, I think I was hitting 280 towards the end, and then I went like on a 5-game skid of just punchy, and then before you know it, you're hitting 220 again, which is not where you want to be. But it's such a good place to see where you stack up against not only like what you need to do to get better, but where you stack up against the best guys in college baseball. And yeah, it's a tough place. You're playing with a lot of good guys. You learn, I think some of the most important stuff about college baseball is taking routines and how other guys go about their routines and how they play. Just taking in as much info from a lot of good guys as possible helps you so much in the long run.
Yeah, that's the Cape is obviously the place to be. It's actually funny. One of our guests hits a double this year, stands on second base, turns to you, and it's David Glancy, one of our earlier guests. And he was telling me that he asked you where you're from, and then you guys obviously both knew me and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's really cool in the baseball world that it's such a small world. Like everyone knows everybody in baseball.
Yeah.
Like everything's gonna tie in. You played with this guy 6 years ago for a guest playing tournament in high school, and you know him to this day. Like you know him like he's your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's how baseball is. I mean, especially college baseball. You're not really gonna get that in the minors and stuff like that. Like college baseball, you're networking with college baseball, which allows us to do things like this, make a podcast like this.
Yeah,
is just so great. You meet so many people throughout your
this
career.
is awesome what you guys are doing. I think giving insight to the younger kids that want to play college baseball, they can watch this and see what guys go through day to day and just how small of a world it is and how good college baseball can be. I just wanted to tell y'all that. It's awesome what y'all are doing.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. For all the young listeners out there, if there is one thing or one piece of advice you could give them, what would it be?
It would be.
I think it'd be a couple things. You can't be part of the normal. Like you're gonna have to. I'm not saying you can't have friends at home, but you're not gonna be able to do all the same stuff that they do. They don't have the same responsibilities as you. And I'd say also what I said earlier, you have to know what you're good at and you got to run with it. You cannot try to be somebody that you're not. Like I can't watch Chris take bat in practice and watch him destroy balls over the scoreboard and like go out there and do the same thing. I got to know what I'm good at and run with it. So that's what I would say. And have fun. Like, it's a game at the end of the day. Yeah, it's life, but if you just make it about I got to do this, and let everything else just fly by, you're gonna regret some things. So you got to enjoy it.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. You're the first one to tell us that. Have fun. First one to bring that in there. It's really true, though. It's like, if you don't enjoy it, you're not having fun with it. Why are you even doing it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a different culture as well. You know, obviously, guys at Virginia Tech, like I noticed that you guys, you guys work hard and stuff like that, but man, you guys have fun while you're doing it. Like, how important for you? One more, how important for you is like a team kind of getting together and kind of bonding with each other. Like, how much do you think that helps?
I think it matters a lot, just in terms of trusting one another without thinking about it. So I think guys should be with their teammates outside of the baseball field. So whether that's, and I'm not saying you gotta go out to the bars and get hammered. You just gotta get together on a Sunday, watch NFL football. Have cookouts. Just having that almost to where you feel like brothers, and like you just need that for the ultimate trust that a team needs to get going places, especially in the postseason. Like the guy behind you hitting, like you can trust that guy to get y'all where you need to go as a team. I think that's so important.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
that's
definitely
great.
agree.
Chick, obviously, I actually haven't really asked this to any of our guests. You're going to be the first one that I ask, but
Okay.
because I'm going to ask you this because of how great of a teammate you were and are. I want you to share to the younger listeners how you can be the best teammate you can be to the other guys on your team, um, especially from your experience of not being a starter to being a starter. How can you be a great teammate to the guys up next to you?
Oh man, there's so many ways. I'll go through a couple. I mean, I think I'll use the first example as me and Eduardo Malinowski, who was the second baseman who started over me my freshman year, and I started over him this past year. We had no bad blood towards each other. So obviously, kids fighting for the positions that they want, you want that spot, but at the end of the day, you are teammates. You're both humans. Like, I rooted for that guy as hard as I could that year, and he rooted for me as hard as he could this past year. And I think not only just having that trust toward each other, it feeds off to the rest of the guys. Like, I love that kid, and he loved me. And so that's one way, I think, the how you can be a good teammate. It's just not only rooting for the guys that you're playing beside, but also root for the guys that are maybe playing in front of you. You know what I mean? And second, just seeing maybe what guys are doing in game and going up talking to them maybe in between innings. Like, Chris, I know you did that a lot for me this year. You would see things that I was doing mid game that maybe didn't look right, and you would come up to me and talk to me about it. And I think also being a good teammate is not only just the encouragement part, but you also got to get on somebody's ass sometimes, especially in college baseball, because a lot of kids think that they get here, they've made it, that they don't really think they can be coachable anymore. But a college team needs leaders, and they need kids that can be not like a coach, but like a player that knows what he's talking about and can get the team in a huddle and get into their ass when they need it. I think that's being a good teammate. is getting on somebody when they need to be got on. That's what I got.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes a long way. And it's probably me and Joe both know this. Um, how hard it is to root for somebody to do well that is in your current position.
So hard.
It's like the hardest thing you can possibly do. That's hard, and also giving tough love to teammates as well. I mean, I'm a big believer in tough love. I feel like I dish it out a good amount, and there are guys that shy away from it a little bit, which is fine. Guys who aren't as vocal as I may be, but for example, Joe is a silent leader, a silent teammate. He shows people with the way he works, and if someone needs something from him, they call him right away. They know exactly what he's going to do, and he's going to help him out. And it's like that's what I think a teammate is. Like if I called you and had something to tell you or whatever, you're like, okay, what time am I meeting you at the cage?
Yeah.
That's what your response was, like, oh, I got this, and you're like, okay, what time are we meeting at the cage? That's how we communicated, and I mean that went a long way for me, and that's what I think.
Yeah, like I mean, Chris, me and you, our relationship outside of the field it wasn't even that large, honestly. But we didn't need it, you know what I mean? And what we had at the field, those late nights, those cold baths in the morning, that's what it was all about for me. And like you're one of the guys I've got the closest with in my college career. Like you helped me with a lot. I appreciate everything. My dog.
Yeah, I mean, we just I think we've hung out one time, maybe.
I don't even remember. Yeah.
I don't even know if we hung out. Maybe it was like 5 minutes, and they're like, "Oh, well, okay, let's go do something. Let's go like work out, or let's go like hit or do something." Like
we did have the walk back where I think I gave you the greatest advice you've ever been given.
That was good advice.
Yeah, it was.
It's obviously I need to get I need it back too. And this is what Chick said. I'm not going to use the word he said, but it's simple. He said, "Look, at the end of the day, nobody cares what you're going through. No one cares what you're going through. The guy on the mound does not care how you're feeling. The guy, even beside you, doesn't really care. No one cares." And he told me that, and man, I was like, you know what? I'm glad. I love that. Like that fired me up, and so that was awesome. That was great.
That's some good advice. I think I could give to younger generations too. Like,
let's hear it.
On any given day, you could feel terrible. Your legs could hurt, but your legs could hurt, your arms could hurt, your whole body could hurt when you're in that box. But you think that MLB scout sitting in the stands is, oh man, this kid's legs are hurting. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I told Chris. But at the end of the day, like nobody cares what you're going through. It's all on you sometimes, and you got to have the mental strength and willpower to get done what you need to get done. So yeah, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
There you have it. Thank you. Appreciate you coming on the podcast, talking with us. It was great meeting you.
Good meeting you, Joe. Good to see you, Chris.
Yeah, Chick. Thank you for coming on to the podcast. It was great having you. This was awesome.
Absolutely.
Obviously, good luck to you next year, going into your junior year. You got a lot of responsibility on your shoulders to be a leader to a lot of new guys coming in, and I know that you're more than prepared to handle that. So
appreciate you. God bless you both. I hope the podcast prospers. I know it will, but yeah, God bless you both. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on.